you started a grocery supermarket business with a completely different set of people, right? Would you be able to summarize your startup journey, how you ended up there?
That's going to be tough to summarize, but I'll try, right? So it started off, I would say, Janik was not the most studious guy in school. Never really cared too much for my studies. I was always more towards extracurricular activities, rugby and things like that. Anybody who's from college would know that I didn't really pay attention to my studies. But when it came towards the end of my school time, I started having to pick which pathway I want to go, right? So I went to visit my brother who was studying in Melbourne at that time, and I saw him studying really hard. And I started getting worried and concerned about going to university and having to go through that same thing. So then I thought, okay, what's the best way out of this? Because the family had this thing where my father was like, everybody has to have a degree, right? So I meet one of my cousins who was studying hospitality management. And then she told me that, oh, I didn't have to study at all. It was all practical, right? So everything was waiting at, restaurants and things like that. So I thought, okay, done. That's the way forward. I went and told my dad I want to study hospitality management. And he said, okay, if that's what you want to do, you have to try to get the best out of it. Little did I know that it was a business management degree specialized in hospitality. So I had to go through that whole thing. But I had an additional year where I had to do the practical part on top of my 3-year degree, which covered all those things again. But the best part is that I got to study in Switzerland, and I got the opportunity to get that exposure, meeting a lot of people from around the world. We had about 97 different nationalities in our university and so on. So I finished my studies and came back to Sri Lanka, highly entitled, thinking that my father is going to give me a part of the business and I'm going to have this big thing to start up the moment I come home, which never really happened. So then about a year later, I started having disappointment, and I started thinking, when is he going to give us some support, and when are we going to start our own business and so on. And then my older brother did his typical older brother thing by coming and giving me a knock on my head and saying, our father gives you nothing at all, right? Whatever you get from him someday is a bonus, but whatever you start on your own is what you get. And he's done the most important thing, which is giving you a platform in terms of your studies. So that was the day that I actually opened my eyes. And I was like, damn, like all those hopes that I had from a young age, wanted to have an easy way out, didn't work out. So then I started thinking about different business ideas. What can I do? So then I had this thing that I wanted to start was hospitality management. So then I tried to come up with ideas. I worked with my dad for a few years, learned about the family business. And then after that, I realized that I had to start on my own. So then I came up with this brand called Celeste, right, which is a hospitality management company. I decided to take all my savings. I had a car, I sold it, took that money, took everything, and I started this hospitality management company, right? So even then, I took a few villas that we had that were being managed by our company in Norelia, and started this whole concept of managing for others. First month was great. We went straight into the season. It was doing well. Second month was also great. And then the third month was when the pandemic hit, right? So now I had 30 people, because I have this thing where it's go big or go home, right? So I had to start off straight away with 30 people. Went and bought all the stuff that I needed to get the business running. And it was very positive seeing the growth in 2 months. And then the third month, when the pandemic hit, I thought, okay, I was one of those guys who went for the Royal Thomaian and had to quarantine immediately for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of staying in bed, looking up at the ceiling, right, coming to a point where I was like, what do I do, right? So my brother calls me and he was like, again, words of wisdom from my older brother. He said, the moment you're out of quarantine, come. I'm doing this social service where we're going to start distributing vegetables to people who can't get access to stuff during the pandemic, right? So then we got together and we started this thing, which was initially more of a social service, where we started distributing fruits and vegetables that we were getting from low country, up country, and giving it to people. And then a couple of weeks later, people started telling us, hey, you don't have to give it for free, charge us something, and you guys have expenses. So then we started charging them cost, and then whatever we were making on top of it was donated to others who still couldn't afford. So by about a month later, I started thinking I have 30 people to take care of. I have a team and I have expenses, so social service is not going to work for too long. So then I started thinking about commercializing the whole thing, right? So that's when we started under the same name, Celeste Hospitality, which was very strange. We were selling vegetables, right? So here we are having our chefs, our demi-chefs, our reservations agent, everybody cleaning vegetables, packing them, taking orders over the phone, which to me was a great opportunity because we changed the mindset of how you would look at groceries and retail. Because we had somebody, it was very difficult for me to change our team's approach towards a customer because they wouldn't call them customer, they refer to them as guest, right? Because everyone is so used to dealing with guests, right? So they say, "Me guest call kar complain kara me gana." I'm like, okay, customer. So then we try to deal with them. So everything we dealt with, any complaints and everything was purely from a perspective of a guest, right? So I think that gave us quite a niche in terms of how we manage the customers and how the entire team had this thing where we wanted to get the satisfaction of making somebody happy, right? Because I think that comes out of the hospitality industry anyway, because people who work in the industry, why you work, one of the main reasons is because you get satisfaction out of seeing people happy with the service you give and you see a reaction, whether it's a family, couple, whoever it is, right? So you think about starting a business on a regular day and you think about the challenges in terms of finding an ERP, finding packaging material, finding like SOPs that you need to follow in certain things, finding suppliers, accommodation for your team, meals for your team, and all these different stuff. And then you take away all those ease of access that you have and go into a pandemic situation where there's a lockdown, right? So we had to pretty much live in one house, the entire team. Everyone is worried about their safety and going back home to their families. So managed to convince everyone to stay inside. So we don't cross borders and go home and give it to the rest of the family. Cooking inside, staff are taking turns cooking for each other, living inside the same space and doing all this. And then we had to get in touch with people who were more like owners of businesses. We got in touch with a guy who owned an ERP company. So the owner himself, for the first time in I think 20 years, did an implementation during the pandemic virtually and set it up for us. Then we had a lady who was doing packaging material at home in her garage who set that up for us. So it was quite a journey in setting up a business in the middle of a pandemic with all the restrictions we had, right? So from there we kept on growing. By about June 2020 is when we started realizing, okay, this is not going to work out and maybe we should get back into regular business. But then we started realizing that we had to keep evolving if we want to stay in because customers didn't let us stop. The moment we started trying to shut down Celeste, we had customers who were sending us messages on social media saying, hey guys, don't stop. You need to continue. Don't be another one of those guys who came up during the pandemic and then suddenly shut down because we need this and we want this to continue. I mean, there was a lot of demotivating times there. I walked into one of the supermarkets somewhere around mid-June. And as I walk in, I look at the people, I look at the variety, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time trying to get all these people to change their behavior and get them to stay at home and order when they have the freedom now, right? Because during the pandemic, they didn't. But we somehow managed to adapt, keep evolving during that time, and then grow. I mean, it's been 4.5 years now. And from where we started, we've had multiple challenges. Started in the middle of a pandemic, a global pandemic, which was not only challenging, but also risking your life, dealing with 150 to 200 riders on a daily basis who are exposed to so many different households, suppliers who are coming in who are also getting exposed to all these places, going to many market and all these places and meeting so many people, right? And sometimes going and delivering personally to houses where people, give you a hard time for getting a bit late or things like that. But it was a great experience, right? So from there we had other challenges, which were far worse than the pandemic, but I'll get to that later on, I think.